Entry date, 23rd October. Ever had one of those moments where the night feels like it's closing in on you, suffocating you with its darkness? Where every shadow seems to hold its breath, waiting for something sinister to happen? Well, that's exactly how I felt driving home last night. The road stretched out before me like a ribbon of asphalt, disappearing into the inky blackness of the night. The only sound was the hum of my engine and the occasional hoot of an owl, and the only light was the beam of my headlights cutting through the darkness. And then out of nowhere, I heard it. A scream, not just any scream, mind you, but a scream that sounded like it had been torn straight from the depths of hell itself. It echoed through the trees like a death knell, sending shivers down my spine and making my blood run cold. Now, call me crazy, but something about that scream made my skin crawl. It sounded like someone was in real trouble, but there was this sickening feeling in the pit of my stomach that told me to stay the hell away. But you know me, always the curious cat. I parked the car on the side of the road and grabbed my torch, the beam cutting through the darkness like a knife. The woods loomed in front of me, silent and foreboding, and every instinct in my body was screaming at me to turn back, but I couldn't. I had to see what was making that noise. The further into the woods I went, the louder the screams became, filling my ears with a sound that made my stomach churn. It was like a woman's voice, but there was something off about it, something twisted and wrong. It sent shivers down my spine, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was walking into something I shouldn't be. And then, just as suddenly as it had started, the screaming stopped. The silence was deafening, pressing in on me from all sides, and I felt like I was being watched. I turned my torch this way and that, but all I could see were trees and shadows stretching out into the darkness like fingers reaching for me. I don't know how long I stood there, frozen in place, but eventually I forced myself to move. I stumbled through the undergrowth, my heart pounding in my chest, until I came to a small clearing. And that's when I saw her. She was lying on the ground, her body twisted in a way that made my stomach turn. Her clothes were torn and bloody, and her eyes were wide with fear. But it wasn't her appearance that made my blood run cold. It was the smile on her face. It was wrong, all wrong, like she was enjoying this. I wanted to run to get as far away from there as possible, but something held me in place. It was like I was rooted to the spot, unable to move, unable to look away. And then, without warning, she spoke. Her voice was like nails on a chalkboard, grating and unnatural, and it sent a shiver down my spine. She said something that made my blood run cold, but I couldn't make out the words. All I could do was stand there, trembling, as she laughed. But the strangeness didn't end there. As I scanned the area with my torch, I caught sight of something even more unsettling, a cave entrance hidden behind a thicket of brambles. It beckoned to me like a gaping maw, promising secrets and horrors beyond imagination. I don't know what possessed me to enter that cave, but before I knew it, I was stepping into the darkness, my torch illuminating the walls with an eerie glow. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and decay, and every step echoed through the cavern like a death knell. And then, just as I thought things couldn't get any worse, I heard it. A low guttural growl that seemed to come from the depths of the earth itself. My blood turned to ice in my veins as I realized I was not alone in that cave, that there was something lurking in the shadows waiting to pounce. I frantically waved my torch around, my heart hammering in my chest, desperate to catch a glimpse of whatever lurked in the darkness, and that's when I saw it. A pair of glowing eyes staring back at me from the darkness. They were cold and malevolent, filled with a hunger that sent a chill down my spine. I tried to run, to escape from that hellish place, but something grabbed hold of me. A cold, slimy hand that seemed to come from nowhere. I screamed, a primal sound of terror and desperation, as I struggled against the unseen force that held me in its grip. I don't know how I managed to break free, but the next thing I knew, I was stumbling out of that cave, and my heart racing and my mind reeling. I didn't stop running until I reached my car, and even then, I didn't feel safe. I could still feel the creature's eyes on me, watching, waiting. I don't know what I stumbled upon in those woods, and frankly, I don't want to know. All I know is that I'll never be the same again. That scream will haunt me for the rest of my days, a reminder of the darkness that lurks just beyond the edge of our world, and I pray to whatever God is out there that I never have to hear it again.